So firstly, let me say international education is a really important export for our country, and all Australians should understand that. This is our fourth largest export. It is the largest export of things that we don't grow or dig out of the ground. A really important thing for our nation.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lola Lolita. If you are seeing baby girl for the very first time, welcome back to the channel. Today, what are we talking about? We're going to discuss the migration changes happening in Australia in 2024. So like big changes are coming, especially for international students, and we're just going to jump right into the video today. Okay, I know I haven't done migration video in a while. Bear with me, you guys are going to get it back to back. All right, so let's talk about the new migration strategy for migrants, for international students, for people that want to become permanent residents in Australia come 2024 2025. In this video, allow you to watch some of the sources I got my information from.
If students are not going to be able to transition onto the skilled program fairly quickly, they probably are not going to find a pathway to permanency in our country, and we're not doing them a favour by letting them stay here permanently temporary, and we're not doing the nation a favour.
Beginning of this week, 11th of December 2023 and also 13th of December 2023, the Australian government made announcements that there would be like total overhaul of the migration system. Here's what the Home Affairs Minister had to say about this.
Of permanent temporariness. The Australian multicultural experiment has in part been so successful because it's been founded in permanency and citizenship, and what we've seen really over the last few decades is a shift away from that to temporariness, and part of our work in the strategy is trying to address that. One of the main ways that we see people end up as permanently temporary in our country at the moment is what have been very, very long stay graduate visas, the longest in the world. So there's been possibilities, for example, for students to come here to finish what might be a 4 or 5 year degree and then stay for up to 8 years on graduate visas.
So the Australian government announced that there will be changes to the migration system come 2024, and I feel like the people that it would affect majorly would be international students. We'll get into that as we go along in this video. So this video is going to be a very compressed video, but it would have all the information that you need to make those decisions come 2024. So they announced migration strategy. They called it migration strategy to overhaul or change the migration system over the next few years, right? One of the major things that has got everyone talking is the fact that within the last year, we had over 500,000 migrants moved to Australia. To be honest, that is a huge number, and it is understandable simply because during COVID, there was the massive lockdown and people could not move into Australia. There was like labor shortages that we'll talk about subsequently in this video. So like they allowed a lot of people to come in between last year and this year. But now the Australian government is saying we cannot keep up. It is too many people that have come in within such a short period of time. Disclaimer, all the opinions in this video are mine and mine only. Please do your research and find out more if you need more information. So the Australian government said
back under control, that we build a better planned system around essential things like housing, and perhaps most importantly of all, that we build a program that delivers for the national interest.
We can't keep up. That is too many people coming into Australia. So we're going to cut the numbers down. So they're literally planning to cut the numbers into half. So we had over 500,000 migrants coming to Australia in 2022, 2023. They're saying 2024, 2025, it's going to be about 250,000 that they would allow in. So imagine slashing that number in half. And I believe the major place that they're going to cut it down would be international students. So dear international students, you want to listen, okay? So they're saying international students are going to, they've made major changes now to how international students would be admitted throughout Australia. So some of the things they have done is, first of all, they've increased the English language test. So before it was 5.5 for you to gain admission into uni or any school in Australia. Now they've increased it. I don't think the increase is that much because they've increased it by 0.5. So it's now from 5.5 to 6 for IELTS. Yes. And you can do the conversion for all the other English exams, whichever one you decide to take. So they said now it's no longer going to be 5.5, it's going to be 6 points minimum for you to gain admission into Australia. Even if you are planning to do foundational courses, they've also increased that. So what the minister said about this is they are trying to make sure that to ensure that international students are not getting exploited, especially in workplace, or they are being, to make sure they are not being treated unfairly. If they can speak English, they need, like, basically she's saying they need English to survive, and if their English is not up to a particular standard, they shouldn't even be getting admission, because at the end of the day they end up suffering it in the long run. That's what they said, right? So it's gone from 5.5 to 6 points. And also another thing they are introducing is the hold on. So it's a GTE, genuine temporary entrance test. So there's like going to be like some kind of test now. We kind of had that before, but it looks like they've made changes to it. I don't know what it looks like now, so you have to do your research. So they're basically saying they're going to ask you very, very important questions in that thing, in that test. You're going to submit it along with your application, basically. So I think some of the questions they will be asking is, one, the usefulness of your intended study at the end of the day, especially for Australia. Like when you finish your course, what are the chances you'll be able to get a job in Australia once you are done? I think another thing is they're trying to reduce the way students are coming in. You know, we've seen a lot of people that come in with they come in with they come in to study bachelor's degree or master's, but once they come in, they go and talk to agents, or an agent will tell, immigration agents will tell them, oh, you can maybe do advanced diploma or diploma. So the government is saying, no, we don't want that. If you're coming in to study, there won't be like you hopping from one course to the other. So like stick to that, because the government already said like the educational system is like the fourth of one of the four major sources of revenue for the country also. So they understand that international students are important, but at the same time, they're trying to make sure international students are not getting exploited. They're able to, like, get good education in Australia. When they finish, they are able to get jobs, right? So they're saying if you're coming to study, you need to explain to them and give them genuine reasons why you want to study that course. What is it for you in the long run? And, they don't want people that already have bachelors or masters coming in to say, oh, we want to do advanced diploma. It's like, why are you going a degree down instead of going up? Yes. So those are some of the major things. And to be honest, I know of like 2-3 people now that have gotten their Australian visas denied. Like that was a shocker for me, because they didn't really used to deny Australian student visa like that. So when that started happening earlier this year, 2023, I was like, I feel like changes are coming. So because most of the people, they are telling them either their sponsors are not like they can't really prove who their sponsor is, or like they don't feel like they're coming here to study. They don't believe that they're coming here to study, because they feel like they're probably going to be working more than studying, because where they are now, like how sure are we, like they're majorly saying, if you come in, how sure am I that you are going to go back to your country? Because when you're applying, usually you say you go back to your home country. So another reason they are making changes, the migration strategy, is also to ensure like they reduce the amount of temporal graduates, like temporary visa holder graduates that are in Australia. Let me break that down. So majorly, it's basically they're saying they don't want people, like they have situations where people are here, they do a 4-5 year study, but then they're still here in Australia 8 years later on a temporal visa. They don't have a permanent residency. So they're saying right from the get-go, as you're applying, you should know if you have a pathway to permanent residency in Australia straight away. If you don't, then they're really not trying to give you visa, because they want people that can contribute to the Australian economy when they finish their study. So they are looking for like skilled workers. One thing I can tell you is, if you are looking to come in as a skilled worker into Australia, 2024 might be favorable for you, because they are going to go through the occupation list, which is something they do every financial year on a normal day. But it looks like with the migration strategy they're putting in place, they're going to overhaul that, and you need to be on the lookout for that and see if your course of study is there.
I invite you to answer if you want to talk a little bit more about the special skills.
Yeah, certainly. We're pleased to see this because fundamentally, when you look at the system as it stands right now, you've got to be in Australia for 2 years before you apply to have a permanency, but you can't make that application unless you've had that 2 years. So for us, we think it's really important in terms of being able to attract people to Australia, that there's that capacity to show them that there is a genuine pathway through to permanency. And the threshold at 135,000, it's slightly higher than what we wanted, but it is a reasonable figure, and we think that that will send a good signal to the international market, so that when we do need to bring skills into the country, people will look at the Australian market and think, yep, this is a place where I can go.
Another change, especially for international students, is that as of last year, they increased the 485 visa. That's the visa you get post-study, yeah? They increase it from like 2 years to 3 to 4 years, depending on what you study, right? Now they're saying, no, we're taking it back to 2 years for bachelor's holders and masters by coursework. So masters by research will still get 3 years. PhD holders will get 3 years, but every other person is going back to 2 years, okay? So another major thing for you to know the government is really serious about curbing international students, right? They have said that before, usually when you finish your study, for you to get 485 visa, the age requirement was 50 years of age. So even if you're above 40 or 30 or something, you can still get 485 visa when you finish study. Now, they have said they are cutting it down to 35 years of age. I don't know what that would look like, but basically I would say it's more or less, once you finish study, if you're above 35, you will not be able to get a 485 visa, which is a 2 years visa that allows you to stay in Australia, work full time, and try and get like a job in your field of study. But this government is saying, no, if you're above 35, you are no more eligible for that visa. That is a huge, huge change. I don't know how people are going to do that. I don't know if people that are already studying, they already got their visas and they are close to 35 would still be eligible, or if they would be like, okay, if you started studying at so date and time, you can still get the visa even if you're above 35. We'll see what that looks like when all these changes roll into place. So also international students who cannot prove sensible career progression, right? Demonstrate sensible course progression from their initial course of study will not meet the genuine student test. That's what they're saying. So even if you're already in Australia, you've finished your bachelor's or you finished your master's, and just so you can stay in Australia, you're more or less saying, oh, let me go and do the diploma course. They're going to vet it thoroughly, and it's like, we don't think you are here to study. You just want to keep staying here and keep working, which is not contributing to our economy. So those are some of the major changes that is happening in 2024. So I'm just going to talk about, to round off this video, what I think has triggered this change. I would say the Australian government started everywhere in Australia, like a lot of places around the world, I would say also have encountered these housing crisis. So Australia has been struggling, like people have been having troubles getting houses, even their own citizens or like permanent residents trying to buy houses. Inflation has gone up, everything has been affected. People are struggling to buy houses or get accommodation, and the government, I would say, has realized that this is majorly as a result of having too many people in the country. It feels like the economy, like it's not sustainable anymore. The government is saying we think we have too many people coming in, and the people inside are not having enough, like we don't have enough resources to cater to everybody. So we're going to cut down on people coming in so we can focus on the Australians and people inside Australia, so they are catered for. So I think that is one of the reasons why this is happening. Another thing I would say is they're trying to fix the broken Australian migration system. So they said the system was intentionally neglected for like a decade, so it's going to take a while for it to change. So they're basically saying they want people to come in, finish study, and have like a genuine pathway to permanent residency instead of hopping from visa to visa just to be able to stay in Australia. So they said those are some of the reasons they are making these changes, but we'll see in subsequent months how these changes roll out. I would say personally, I feel bad for how it would affect people that are kind of in the process. You already started thinking, these are the things I need to do. Now the changes are happening. It's like you need to revisit whatever it is you were doing before, just to make sure you're still on the right track. So I feel bad that it's going to affect a few people, but the government is saying in the long run it will be good. So let's see how that plays out over the coming months or years. But yeah, that is all I have for this video. Do let me know if you've enjoyed this video by giving it a massive thumbs up, share, comment below, and thank you all so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe also if you are not subscribed to my channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.
Short, sharp answers to students about whether they're going to have a pathway, and we do that viewing their ability to transfer onto the skilled list. So there's some big changes that need to occur here. Now, you asked about when we expect to see results, and I would say to you, we're already seeing results. Migration would be far higher today if the government hadn't already taken decisive action on this matter over the previous 18 months.